Hi, I'm John McAuliffe, Chief Marketing Officer of VFM Leonardo, and welcome to the VTV channel. I'm pleased to tell you we have Phillip Wolfe, President and CEO of PhoCusWright with us today. Phillip is a well-known and well-regarded expert on trends and practices in travel e-business. He founded PhoCusWright in 1994, which is now the premier source for travel, tourism, and hospitality intelligence. Phillip is a highly sought-after speaker around the world and is frequently quoted in consumer and trade media. He is a former adjunct professor at NYU's Graduate Center for Hospitality and Tourism and is currently a distinguished lecturer at the Cornell University School of Hotel Administration. Phillip has served as board director for companies on 3 continents, currently for global media property T-News, Talking Travel Tech, and India's Make My Trip. Prior to PhoCusWright, Phillip was CEO of a venture-funded software developer and travel booking engine pioneer. Over the course of 5 episodes, Phillip and I are going to discuss the topic Chaos Calls, Navigating the New. In this series of episodes, we will examine the forces that are transforming travel, tourism, and hospitality that all travel companies must confront. Our discussion is based on the theme of PhoCusWright's conference and will focus on how hoteliers can successfully navigate the new. Phillip, thank you for joining us on VTV and welcome today.
It's a pleasure to be with you, John.
We've had a good number of series on our topic, Chaos Calls, Navigating the New. And today our episode is titled Significant Surprise. In your words, technology, media, and marketing have just about boiled over. Yesterday's killer strategies are often irrelevant today. In travel, the swirl of technological and economic chaos enveloping our space is unprecedented. In such an unusual environment, the probability of a significant surprise waiting around the corner increases daily. Phillip, in your view, how can hoteliers prepare for the next new?
This preparation demands that good marketers, good leaders understand that the probability of a significant surprise is significant. To understand this, let's review the other 4 tenets of Chaos Calls. In previous episodes, we've thoroughly explained the chaotic environment around disparate devices and channels as a response. Marketers must appreciate that travelers, customers, guests, prospects access travel information through a lot of different hardware and on a lot of different platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Android, iPhone, or a new tablet. We also talked about how this disparate device and channel proliferation puts new strains on search, how coupled with millions of travelers around the world are leaving their borders for the first time, and how do you attract and retain them, and the huge orientation towards visualization, see me, hear me, touch me, we call it, for interfaces and communications instead of words and numbers. When you put all this together, that's what we mean when we say technology, media, and marketing is about to boil over. The probability of a significant change happening in the marketplace increases exponentially. What kind of significant change? It could be a technology change. Look at augmented reality or location-based services with a company like Foursquare being the fastest growing e-business, if you will, where people are using smartphones, not computers. Or just some other kind of technology. Or it could be a new entrant coming from nowhere, entering a marketplace and being very disruptive in a positive way. Or an established player waning, an entity that had significant clout. For many, they were thought irrefutable in a marketplace. I think Toyota's recall crisis this year is an example of that. So you can't predict the surprise, but if you have a good marketing strategy and you are emulating all these things that are going on, good strategic planning and a culture. You got to have that culture will get your organization thinking about new kinds of things that will disrupt the marketplace, change the business model. And by strategizing this way, your organization should actually gain competitive advantage as these significant surprises erupt in succession in the marketplace.
Phillip, is there anything that you see from your vantage point where you anticipate as the next new around the corner for the industry?
Well, examples of it are happening right now. I just mentioned, location. So if you really are customer fixated, and that's why I've never been a fan of the expression, I want to be industry friendly or supplier friendly. You need to be customer friendly. If in addition to that you can be industry friendly, great. But when they compete, winners fixate on customers. When you are customer friendly, you would have already had a keen appreciation that, they say by 2015, more people in the world will access the internet via a mobile smart device than a laptop or a computer. Think about what's going on. You have mobility, you have internet access, you have a camera and a video, you have a compass, you have a GPS. So if your hotel marketing organization hasn't said, how can we exploit the intersection of user-generated content, knowing where you are and when you are with visualization, then you're just not being good marketers because you're skipping the obvious trends. That's why you need to keep track of trends. That's what we mean, John, by good leadership. You have to have good marketing leadership to drive a certain kind of strategic process wrapped in a certain culture, and it's not that hard.
What advice can you offer hoteliers on keeping on top of this evolving space?
Well, for those of you who remember Popeye, when he was asked that question, what do you advise when he was confronted with a daunting circumstance? He opened his can of spinach, and that's where he got strength and fortitude and got revitalized. So we can't open the can of spinach, but really the analog here seriously is watching customer behavior. Are you analyzing what your customers are doing? Are you listening to your customers? Are you working with all the other departments in your organization and creating a culture and feedback mechanism, understanding what customers are wanting and not wanting, liking and disliking, doing and not doing? Are you reading? Are you blogging? Are you going to meetings? Are you attending conferences? Have you created that laboratory where you're emulating different devices and disparate channels? So it's just you kind of have to appreciate the chaos, and it's a little bit like a roller coaster. You fasten the seatbelt very tightly around your waist, but at the same time you have to let your arms and legs kind of flail around so that you have enough discipline but enough flexibility to understand what's going on and exploit the chaos. It's happened before.
Certainly, Phillip, in the 5 episodes that we have tackled this discussion, one of the recurring themes that I hear you bringing up is the need for marketers, whether that's someone that classifies himself as an e-marketer or not, to really have a very good understanding of what their customer is doing to search and find their travel shopping needs. And that seems to be coming through loud and clear that is fundamental for any marketer.
But if you think about it, I mean, we all know that's the most basic tenet of marketing anyway. But I'll give you an example of that. It's explaining about the unprecedented growth of what are now called location-based services. Foursquare has been the leader there, another company called Gowalla. Facebook just announced its answer called Places. So about a month ago, I was explaining this to a hotel marketer, and they weren't terribly savvy, but they did take copious notes. And 2 weeks later, I get an email that said, I've been on my laptop, I've been using Foursquare, and I just don't get it. And I answered, that's because people that use Foursquare don't do it on a computer. And, it's so obvious on the one point, but good marketers have this ability to take those time-honored disciplines that have transcended every technological phase of a marketplace and overlay them with the realities of today's chaos. And when you do that, you'll be a lot more successful than most.
One of the other things that I've heard you talk about in our series, Philip, is this need to really have a good handle on user-generated content, in particular, the ability to be able to understand different markets based on the reviews and feedback that consumers are providing online, and marrying that up with visualization strategies. Mm-hmm. Can you, once again, for our audience, tell us, as a hotelier, what should I be focusing on in those arenas to be successful?
Yeah. Well, the key point now with user-gen content is not just reading it and reacting to it, but your marketers. So are you analyzing it? Are there any takeaways? And I've seen clients very successful parse their user-gen content by, say, country of origin or destination, for example, and appreciate that visitors, tourists, clients, business travelers incorporate different attributes when writing a review, not just depending on what type of traveler they are, but geographically where they're from. And you use that in turn to shape your messaging and tweak your communication with different groups. So it's a powerful new tool. Another example of that is I have seen this company that actually does a profile analysis of, say, all the followers one of your brands has on Twitter and kind of mapping them. And I've seen this comparison between United Airlines followers and American Airlines followers. And without getting into all the analytical details, they're actually learning things. They're identifying trends that inform marketing decisions. So it's a brave new world out there. That's why chaos calls, and you have to answer because there's absolutely no option in escaping.
Philip, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us again today. We appreciate having you on VTV and have enjoyed the episodes that you've shared with us.
Great. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I hope your audience embraces the chaotic marketplace and turns it to competitive advantage.
To all the viewers out there, be sure to post your comments on this episode of VTV and subscribe to our feed to receive more valuable insights from industry experts. If you'd like to suggest topics that you would like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to email us at vtv@vfmleonardo.com with your suggestions.